I would now like to call Dr. Erdal Oskaya to introduce the Global CISO Forum and to launch the panel on shifting cybersecurity landscape and CISO experience. Over to you, Dr. Erdal.
Thank you, dear Arun. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be in another event with all of you together again. And I think most of you know me. For the ones that don't know me, I am currently working as Global CISO at Komodo Cybersecurity and as a Chief Cybersecurity Strategist. My job is basic to help CISOs across the globe to be more secure. Besides that, why I'm here today, of course, to moderate the panel, but more importantly, these days, the COVID days, the pandemic showed us or taught us very good lesson. We noticed that even though we are far away from each other via social distancing or via not being able to travel and see each other, meet each other more often, we learned that it's really important to be part of a community. And when you look at communities, there are many communities around, but I noticed there is not much for CISOs. We came together with some great minds and we sit down and we said, how can we help cybersecurity professionals, more importantly, cybersecurity executives, to come together, to advocate each other, to help each other, to support each other, and more importantly, to fight the threats. If you attended any of my sessions before, I always say one thing. Look, you don't have to love your next door neighbor, but you have to respect humans. Why you have to love your next, even if you don't love your next door neighbor, you have to respect your next door neighbor. And if there is a fire, you better go help your neighbor, because if you don't help the neighbor, the fire can easily jump into your house and you can be burned together. So you might be working in competition, you might be working in totally different areas. Sharing some threat intelligence, helping each other is really, really important. We are human beings. We love to be together. Since we're born, we are attached to our mothers, to our family, to our religion, to our people. You can make this border. The sense of belonging. And I'm proud to launch that the Global CISO Forum is here with the motto of better together. We believe we belong to each other. We believe we can collaborate, we can network, and more importantly, we can learn from each other's expertise. I got PhD in cybersecurity in IT. I wrote more than 16 books. I used to teach hacking for EC Council, for logical operations, other firms. I'm still writing some courseware for big companies such as Microsoft. But doesn't matter how many classes I taught at university or professionally, even in classes, I learned from students. So it doesn't matter if I'm the lecturer or not. Sometimes you meet a junior who finds, like the 17-year-old boy who hacked the whole Sony network. So there is a lot to learn from that little teenager. What I'm trying to say is we are here to learn from each other. And with this, I'm again proud to moderate the panel for today, because I have some key members of our Global CISO Forum. And I'm gonna introduce them one by one, and they can introduce themselves. First, dear Meshal, how is it Saudi Arabia? How are you? And please introduce us. What are you doing in your professional life? Meshal?
Thank you, Doctor, for your introduction. I am Meshal AlOtaibi. I'm the cybersecurity director in one of STC subsidiary called Specialized, which focus on mission critical communication. I have 15 years experience. I talk a lot in events and conference. I have two published scientific paper about blockchain and artificial intelligence. That's all.
Pleasure meeting you. I mean, I knew you before, but in front of everybody. Navaneethan, I know you for years as well, but let's assume we don't know each other. Can you please introduce yourself again and what you do?
Thanks, Fadol. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much for this, the great forum. It's like amazing initiatives where really we wanted to share and care. It's like what we learn in our kids, right? That's a really it continues till that our life end. It's a really good start. Really, we love to have a great conversations, great exchanging of of the best thought, best experience, so that we may not require to reinvent from scratch, right? That's always it's a value additions. Great. Coming to my introductions, I'm Navaneethan. I have a close to 20 plus experience across cybersecurity domain, where I work for a Grow as a CISO and head of IT, and then I work for a PU, Deloitte, and Capgemini and Xerox. It's like this is like 10 years. Moreover, I can say it's like a born and brought of in cybersecurity, which is really embedded as part of my lifestyle. And I'm part of NASCOM board, Ministry of IT India, like where we are framing, shaping the curriculum for the entire country. And I have a lot of publications in terms of international journals, and of course, still, as rightly Adel mentions, just pursuing my PhD on the blockchain security. Looking forward, really love to learn a lot of stuff from every leaders, and good to move ahead. Thanks, Adel. Over to you.
Thank you. Another person, which I call friend, Vivek. Welcome to the panel and of course to the Global CISO Forum. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Dr. Edral. It's always a pleasure reconnecting with you. And first of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate everyone for the launch of the Global CISO Forum. This is a great forum, and like Dr. Edal mentioned, it is a very essential essence when it comes to collaboration, so that we get best out of sharing experiences and wisdom when it comes to security. Talking about myself, I'm Vivek. I'm a cybersecurity and assurance professional with over a decade of experience in the niche fields of assurance. Let's say cybersecurity governance, risk management and compliance, operational risk, financial crime prevention, etc. I've been a global trainer and mentor for aspiring security professionals, and I've helped them to train them to achieve cybersecurity certifications as well. I've been a member of, and I'm still a member of ISACA International for the CISM certification group for the 3rd year in a row. And most importantly, and my concluding statement on the introduction would be that I'm a continuous learner. I still consider myself a student of information security and the field, because I can never consider myself as a complete professional unless I learn every single day. Thank you.
That was great. And Abdelmajed, my dear friend, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Ajal. How are you? And thank you for all of you for your time, and for the esteemed panelists. I'm honored to be with you here, and also honored to be with the Global Forum, which is a really great initiative that will help most of the professionals that to learn new things. For me, I'm Abdelmajed. I work for cybersecurity for like 22 years, and having a master in cybersecurity and MBA also to understand the business relation with cybersecurity. Also a mentor and an instructor for EC Council called ethical hacking, this kind of stuff also. I like to learn every time. You need to know the skill sets, the mindsets of the people, so you will learn new things that would help you to in your real life, that to solve some issues and some problems. And also glad to this initiative that will help in Middle East and even to be international, that being distributed for all the professionals that we expected to be joining us.
Great introductions, and let's start help our attendees to learn from us. So COVID-19, for years, all of us, we were speaking about the changes coming. We talked about cloud, we talked about new operating system, new vulnerabilities. We never foreseen that a little virus this time a human virus would change the way that we're working. So COVID-19 has taught all of us some important lessons. You as esteemed cybersecurity professionals, what do you think your lesson learned are from this? How do you think we can move forward? What did you learn? What would you recommend for others? I start with Meshal, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I want just to, use what Mr. Abdelmajed said, that he have two master, one for cybersecurity, one for MBA, so he can understand, think from different view. And this is what we should do now, because thinking about cybersecurity, that, okay, we need to have a lot of controls, protect the company, but we forget to say that now the business, the company suffer from the COVID-19. The budgets will be shrink. Now, should we enforce them to use the remaining budget, let's say, for only cybersecurity, or to provide or to update their portfolio? And this is what actually I'm learning during COVID-19. We put our hand with the business. Maybe before COVID-19, there is a lot of escalations, and fighting. This should be the product should be in the market quickly. No, we said the cybersecurity is very important than business. But during COVID-19, all we put a hand to each other. So we can go during this crisis, try to make our companies survive till past the the issue happened during the COVID-19. One second point. Now we do a lot of exceptions, and maybe I will focus more than what we should do after the COVID-19, because COVID-19 is phase is finished. Oh, I will not say finished, but just the initial or first stage of COVID-19 is finished. Now some company will continue still face issue with the COVID, like some countries still it's locked down. But let's speak about the countries, the company or expert that in countries that now they are open. I'm just recommend to start with clean your house, because yeah, it is a storm. A lot of exception happen. Working there, remove some security controls in that some part. Now you need to sit, or the expert, cybersecurity experts need to sit and think how we clean this. Let's say, I will not say the bad thing or the wrong thing, but something done because there is exception needed. We want all the experts to review, conduct risk assessment, see what's happened, how we can remove the exceptions, unnecessary exceptions, let's say, and go with the other department, technology, business, to explain him the risk of what's happened before and what we should do to prevent any further risk, because now the number of attacks increased. As I read in one report that 300% increase. For that, these attacks will also affect the company. So risk assessment is mandatory. Return back to the basics. See what's happened. Yeah, reconfigure, review, check your backup solutions, your backup policy. I also recommend to do some compromise assessment, because could be during the COVID-19, people do not focus a lot. Maybe some malware or backdoor now currently exists in the network. For that, this is what I highly recommended to do. Penetration test to ensure that everything is okay. Review the access management, because access management, a lot of access management was, modified to cover a lot of requests happened during the COVID-19. And this is the point that what I have now, and I leave the remaining to my colleagues.
Thank you. I think you covered everything. Navaneethan, you were going to be next. Do you think anything is left? Would you like to add anything? If not, I can answer a different question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcel. You went, mashallah, all the way. Navaneethan?
Absolutely, Adelina. Thank you so much, Meshal. You covered predominantly on the the key areas. On top of that, Meshal's input really, it's a value of life, right? I mean, in terms of the COVID, we understand. I mean, yesterday we were talking with someone, and then today, the people are not there. It's like the infections, and then they went to the extreme, and we lost, our close dears and friends. That's why the COVID really taught. It's not only the cybersecurity; it's a value of the people, and what's the value additions we do for our neighbors and circles is a lot of value additions. And coming to the cybersecurity, really we never thought, like if you take the DR and then BCP setup, all the time just we used to work for 20% and 30% of critical assets, right? Like if anything goes wrong, we may think about like a 20% of people just we move from one place to other place. It's maybe the data center level, or maybe cloud center level, or maybe city level, country level. That's the way we work actually. We never thought like it's like the entire country will go on the crisis. So all the time, just whatever we think in terms of the architecture, in terms of design. So maybe really we have to think about the worst scenarios. It may not be on the best scenarios. It's like always it helps a lot. That standpoint, really I'm connecting the zero trust architectures. Really we have to put it on what are the component you fit into your organizations. Now cloud really push this entire technology towards the remote, right? It's most of the companies, even though they were refused to connect on the cloud, they have onboarded on the cloud. It's all the infrastructure on the cloud because no other options, right? It's left out. It's really the COVID has helped us to move the complete transformation so quickly. Who are all adamant to deny the budget and all the things, it's went ahead and then given the budgets to go on the cloud. So when you connect to the cloud, there are some multiple factors now coming to the pictures, right? In terms of shadow IT, really we are not sure who's buying what. Like anyone across a cloud, anyone can buy any component, plug into your environment because the SaaS product, right? Once you connect it to your API is connected, you can pull out the information to whatever you wanted. So that standpoint, really zero trust architectures, it helps a lot and lot to make it forward on the the right directions. And the second one is in terms of vendor risk management. Really, if you see the current scenarios, it's maybe let's maybe take SolarWind, right? The SolarWind, we never thought it's like a trusted tool. The Variant tool, it's very trusted. 33,000 clients they were using, including Fortune 500. We never thought that we'll get into that. So now just we have to rethink, who are else coming to the, the trusted environment, who are all bringing the software, who are all, loading these applications, where we should have the one more checklist or the one more the gate to ensure that whether they have gone through all the scrutinies. Because what are the software? Because by default, right, some extent we do that. Microsoft patch, Microsoft, the hotfix, whatever they have given, just to be installed, we will ensure that a system does not have any other issues in terms of the performance. We never thought this will integrate any other malicious content. It create the backdoor. So that's where we need a lot of focus in terms of the vendor risk management, because now the CISO responsibility not only protect your own organization, it extended support to protect your employee home network, to protect your the vendor risk management, to protect just overall the environment 360-degree what you have. It's like the water storage, right? If you have the water dam, it is a 50-60 kilometers radius. It is surrounded by full of mountains and then water. If any one place is 1 centimeter water leakage, it will destroy the entire water storage. It will create a major flood. So that's why it's a cybersecurity. It's like a 360-degree. It's not only on the IT, right? It's absolutely, it play across 360-degree from end to end. It's maybe on from HR, IT, finance, your marketing, sales, engineering. It plays, all the, these areas.
Honestly,
and just if you're coming to the,
I thought you were done. Sorry, please.
Yeah. So if you're coming to the, this overall approach, maybe post-COVID, just I'm seeing is a holistic approaches play very significant role. I mean, till now, just if you say just I'm a CISO, I'm IT, I take care of only these things. Now it's not the case. Really, we have to see the helicopter view of overall organizations, what exactly, and then how you're going to cover this entire 360 degrees taken care well. So the holistic approaches help us a lot from end to end. And of course, we'll talk in terms of the endpoint and other things and all upcoming stuff. Over to you, Fadol. Thank you.
All right. I love your analogy. 1 millimeter of water, you said. and that's what I sometimes call it as well. Hackers are like water. They can, water, doesn't matter how much waterproof you have. If it will find its way and it will go through it. That's how hackers are. For using the time more effectively, I want to go to my second question with you, dear Vivek. Ransomware. It is in the news. Big organizations, they were demanded millions of dollars. Some of them paid, some of them couldn't pay. As Meshal and Navaneethan said, there is lots of stuff which, whatever they mentioned, could prevent ransomware. But what do you think about ransomware? We know it's becoming more sophisticated. And what is your opinion? How can we minimize those attacks, in your opinion? Abdelmajed, I'm going to ask the same question to you as well.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Etal. This is a very interesting question and the need of the hour, because everybody is talking about ransomware. Just this morning, I was contacted by an individual who was a victim of ransomware. So it's no longer limited only to corporations. We as individuals, common men, are also impacted by this, right? So basically, if you look at it, technology has always been a double-edged sword, right? While businesses are taking advantage of the rapid digital transformation in enabling the business, at the same time, the malicious actors are also doing the same, leveraging the technology to further sophisticate their attacks, right? While we, the good guys, the CISOs, most often work in silos, the bad guys have always been collaborating, right? And this is a lesson that all of us have to take back home, that we need to increase our collaboration to fight the bad actors, right? So when we come back to the main key reasons why the ransomware attacks are happening, part of it is with the pandemic that has impacted the globe since over a year and a half. There are a lot of people who actually were never, companies have transformed, and so have individuals. For example, there were companies which were as conservative as they never allowed people to work remotely, connect to remotely to the networks, etc. But suddenly they were actually forced to adopt such remote working technologies. And since many organizations were not even prepared in terms of patching, etc. So and plus the fact that when you are connecting from home or any other place, you are not directly behind the corporate firewall and all the technology solutions that you have. So the weakest link has actually moved from the corporations to the end user's home. That's one part of it that is actually, contributing to the increase in the malware. At the same time, we as common men and we as security professionals basically are not, in my opinion, doing enough to inculcate that culture of security amongst within our family, within our friends. We never advise them, or we might not be giving the right advices in terms of patching their computers on a regular basis, using not to use pirated software, so that because many times it's a pirated software, we always think, why should I buy this software when I can get it for free, use a keygen? So these all also enable us, or enable the attackers to actually infiltrate end user systems, right? And this becomes kind of a weakest link in the end user systems. And also one more important point that is contributing actually in here is many users are kind of first-time users when it comes to technology, thanks to COVID. Let's take some teachers, for example, or doctors who are not tech-savvy by nature. Not everyone is a IT or a tech-savvy person, but the COVID forced them to adopt these technologies for every basic service that we use in common every day, whether it is shopping for vegetables or grocery, or consulting your doctor, or even your kids going for education. How many of us really actually look at security controls? Does the system have a antivirus? Is the signature updated? Is the patches being updated on a regular basis, etc. Right? So these are basic security controls that need to become, I would say, the basic cybersecurity hygiene is what is important when it comes to prevention from such ransomware attacks. And that is what we all should be focusing today. Thank you. Over to you.
I totally agree. Thank you very much. By the way, Abdelmajed, same question to you. I know we have done a great job explaining most of the aspect, but I would like to hear your recommendations as well, please.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Abdel. Actually, Nathan and Meshal, they said very good points that I would like just to comment on their things that they already added here. That the word, when we say that the game is changed after COVID, everything is changed, even our lives. So I think our way of thinking also should be changed, because we have to cope with the change that could happen. We don't know in the future what will be happening, what will be maybe that another pandemic or something that would make us do a lot of prerequisites and all of these things. For the ransomware also, the main thing that you have to protect your network with the zero-day attacks, and the zero trust. Also, you have to implement this kind of stuff, but also you should have your radar, the SOC. The SOC, Security Operations Center, is really important or essential tool or device that you have to run it very well, and to use the appropriate use cases that to monitor your VPN, your people data. Now you have a percentage of your organization are working remotely because of COVID maybe, or working from home. These devices could not be, maybe it's not patched, maybe it's not having antivirus. All of these things you have to put in your mind, that you should make sure that everything that you put your measures and everything. So for this kind of stuff, also for the other side, the incident response team should be ready, because if you have anything, it should be taking the processes of the incident response from A to Z, containing the system, isolating, finding the root cause, and back to normal. All of these things, you cannot, you know that the security, the rule of security that we are not secure 100%. So you should expect the worst case scenario that could happen. So if your incident response team is not ready for that, also you will be in a big problem. The forensic team to investigate if there is a ransomware attack for the hard disk, if there is any encryption, how could this being reverted back. And the other thing also, the other side, are we having a full control of backup of our system, and we put it in outside the place? Are we having also disaster recovery side that help us if we can move the employees or the company processes and operations to that side till we revert back to normal? BCM, is it implemented well? The business continuity management, are we also making sure that if we don't have even any system, we can work manually without minimum interrupt to the business? For all of these things, you should put these measures that the ransomware to minimize the effect that could affect you as an organization from the side. And also, I think the management should put some investment or reserve amount for the BCM, disaster recovery, all of these measures that because, as I told you, because of the game is changed. Now the hackers have every day having a new way of ransomware, new way of attack, new way of getting to your organization. And as Nathan said, that it's like water leakage. Anywhere it would find a hole, it would penetrate your system and your network. All of these things you should be in mind.
Totally agree. Time is passing through, actually. If you have four knowledgeful professionals in front of you, I'm not going to ask any more new questions, but what I'm going to do is maybe for the 35 seconds, I'm going to time it up, okay? Please, what do you recommend for CISOs? What should they do next? Your opinions, one, I know if I let you, you can talk all day about it, but we have like 3 minutes left. In few words, dear Meshal, I'll start with you again.
What I say, maybe think out of the box. New technology will come, billions of devices will come. How you will handle it? How if you feel, or how you like what we have in COVID-19, we could have a wanna cry for the IoT devices. Then how you will handle it? How you will deal with it? Think out of the box. See how as our colleagues say, zero trust infrastructure. Try to align with the best practice.
Very good. Navaneethan?
Yeah, it's like a few things, right? One is
30 seconds.
we should 30 seconds, yeah. It's a couple of things, right? One is maybe in terms of we should talk on the board language, right? When we are talking to the board members, it's maybe a CEOs and maybe the CFO. That's very much is required. We should not be in technical. Second factor is where should have clear risk matrix, which is aligned with your business, which is aligned with what's asset you have. We cannot apply general principle, general controls across all the organizations. Really, we have to need a tailoring. It's required to apply for your organizations what it is required. That's very much is important. And third one is you may have a number of projects, just where we have to have a category, have to have a priorities which is critical and then important quadrant. If you have a 4 quadrant where whatever things comes in important and critical, just we have to keep it as a priority one. Because all the things, whatever things you critical, you mentioned is it won't work out, right? So that's a prioritization is very much is required. And to always give like what is the current posture, what's the future posters, what the transition is required from end to end. It helps a lot. Over to you, Odell.
It's helping, right? Stress is always good. Vivek, please.
Thank you, Dr. Idral. So we always believe, and it's a common saying, that the fourth industrial revolution is about digital transformation by adapting all these emerging technologies that are coming. As security and assurance professionals, it's our prime responsibility to be passionate but not paranoid about security. Most of us try to be paranoid and always try to see the bad side of it. And the second and most important, we always need to see how we can actually enable the business rather than be a showstopper all the time. And the third and the last is try to inculcate the concept and messages of security amongst general public, amongst your family and friends, so that they as an individual do not fall prey to such cybersecurity attacks or frauds that might impact them. Thank you so much.
And dear Abdelmajed.
Yes, Mr. Abdul,
30 seconds, Arun, we know.
Only one thing.
No, 30 seconds.
You have to divide. Okay, you have to divide your mind to two things. That right is business and the left is cybersecurity. So you will align your business with your controls and your management. So as Vivek said, that you should not be as a showstopper. You should be a business enabler for the business to be secured so it can be expanded. When you are secure, you can expand easily. That's it.
Thank you. You know what? I was like not to give a summary about the session, but no, the whole summary is the whole session. But what I'm promising to everybody who's watching, please go to globalcisoforum.com and we're going to do a single session with each of these valuable panelists and talk in depth on what they're recommending. This is my promise to all of you. So Global CISO Forum, with this, we're launching the forum, and I don't want to steal more time of others, but I hope you enjoyed it. Believe it or not, I did. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'm looking forward to see 4 of you very soon in our one-to-one recording, and all of you who's watching on YouTube or wherever we're going to publish those videos. Thank you very much. Arun, you got the mic.